my name's Samuel. I'm 22 and I graduated from Duke in 2019. Right now I'm on staff with InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. We're a national organization dedicated to seeing college students and college campuses reach with the good news of the gospel. Practically what that means in my day-to-day life is that my job is to spend time with students to help them build community on campus and help them to engage people with spiritual conversations. I spent all 4 years at Duke really involved with the chapter of InterVarsity there, and my life changed so much through college itself, but also through getting plugged into InterVarsity, just being able to grow and mature and understanding what who I am as a person and what my passions and interests and strengths are, but also having InterVarsity as a space where I could think through all of those things in the context of faith and what it means that God has made me in XYZ ways and what that means. And best times that I had at Duke were spent with other students in InterVarsity, building community, being with people and getting to know them, and having conversations about faith and other things that aren't necessarily surface level. There are things that you have to kind of dig into with one another, and just getting the chance to talk with people and get to know them and get to know God together was one of the highlights of my college time, and so that's why I'm on staff. The big overarching reason why I've come on staff is just because I hold a lot of my life loosely. In a sense, I don't really have large career ambitions, and a lot of that is built around the fact that I've already decided for a number of years now that my life is in God's hands, and so if we call him Lord, then he chooses everything in our lives, and so for me that just means that I hold everything with an open hand, including my careers. The decision to come on staff really came out of a larger overarching decision that I've made in my life, that everything in my life is surrendered to God, that the entire mission of my life and the entire bent of my life is towards glorifying God, loving him and making him known. And of course that can lead you into many different fields, but for me right now it looks like coming on staff with InterVarsity to spend these first few years out of undergrad, which people say are like the most precious time of your life, to spend that investing in this next generation of college students, this next generation of leaders, the next generation of the church. I talked some about the things that I really cherished about my time in college, but one of the things that I most regret is that I spent 95% of my time and energy in college investing in relationships with Christians, and I strongly believe that community with other Christians is necessary, and it's helpful and healthy for Christians, that we need that accountability and that encouragement. But my freshman year, I came into Duke, and the main things that I became involved with were InterVarsity, my Christian fellowship, and I also got involved with another Christian a cappella group. And between those two large social groups, my entire network was basically filled, my entire schedule was basically filled. And so though I interacted with non-Christians in my dorm, in my classes, in the dining hall, I didn't really see them as such. They were mostly people outside of kind of my view of my life. And so it wasn't really until sophomore or junior year that I recognized that there was a missing opportunity for me, that the Lord was inviting myself and the entire Christian community at Duke to not spend so much time inwardly focused, but to focus on others around us, to focus on those on campus who need to hear the good news of the gospel. And so my senior year, I ended up joining another a cappella group that wasn't Christian predominantly, with the expectation that I would go in and sort of stir up these spiritual conversations, that I would be this big evangelist. But when I got there, I actually found that people in the group were already starting to have spiritual conversations. They were already thinking about faith. And when they heard that faith was a large part of my life, they wanted to have conversations. And so they were prepared for me, but I wasn't prepared for them. I came in, and even when they wanted to have conversations, I was hesitant. I didn't know how to bring up conversations. I didn't know how to engage in conversations, even when they had initiated. And so that's one of my regrets, is not taking more time earlier on to invest in non-Christians, to see that they're normal people, that I have more in common with them than I think, to lower that barrier of intimidation, and to just be able to love them well. One of the parts of my job is that I raise support. So every year I have a budget. I raise that support from people and churches and foundations. And so this turns a lot of people off from the job. It sounds scary, and it's uncomfortable for sure. I've come into a new understanding of who God is through this. Prior to coming on staff, I had talked a lot about how, like, God is my shepherd and my provider, that he cares for me. And all while I was saying that, my bank account was fine, my parents were there for me and could cover for me. And so practically, what my relationship with God was like was not as provider, that I didn't know that aspect of needing to depend on God, that Jesus invites us into, right? And so through needing to support raise and all of these things, like, I've seen the Lord move in tangible ways. I've seen God move in ways that I hadn't seen before, and it's been a gift to see that, to know the body of Christ as being the actual hands and feet of Jesus, that people I know, that people that I grew up with and who watched me grow up would invest in this, that it's just expanded my understanding of what the body of Christ means, what the family of God means. And so that's been a gift this summer, to come back and to share about students whose lives have been changed by the ministry, but also to see them and to see the ways that they just remember me and have seen me grow. I don't necessarily worry about finances or career. Honestly, I feel like I'm pretty set in a lot of things, but it has been a gift to learn and to be forced to learn to depend on God more and more. The way that I see my role as a staff worker within a varsity is really limited by the fact that I'm only 22, and so in a lot of cases the students that I'm working with are older than me or the same age as me. If they're younger than me, it's usually no more than 2 years, and so it's hard for me to come in and feel like I'm an expert in everything, because I'm just not. It also added on to that is the fact that I'm not at Duke anymore, and so I am on a campus where the students have spent more time there than I have, and so they know the campus culture better than I do. And so my role really is to be a part of what God is doing through these students, and so to equip and empower them, to encourage them in what it means and looks like to engage their campus. I get to be the bridge between the organization and the students, to train them and to equip them, to help them see life with a little bit more perspective, to think about issues with more of a biblically based lens than either the culture or they just have. And so that's sort of my role, is not that I am like a lead pastor or that I'm teaching everything, but really that I'm a small part of what God is doing through these students. Whether or not I'm on campus, God is able to move. It's been so much fun. My job is honestly the best job in the world. I get to spend hours of my week just hanging out with students, getting to know them, getting to love them, and getting to talk about faith with them in a way that I've realized many people don't have the opportunity to do so. There are parts of it that have been hard, and I've grown in a lot of ways as a person and as a minister, but yeah, this first year has been so incredible, just to see God move so tangibly, and to see God work in the lives of students in ways that people sometimes only see like Facebook posts or read books about them, but I get to see the transformations and hear these stories and see these stories being played out. And so I love my job. This first year has been absolutely incredible, and I'm really excited for what's coming up. I wanted to offer a little bit of encouragement as well. Mostly, I think just the reassurance that the Lord will direct your steps, that if your heart is in the right place and you're seeking God, that the Lord sees that and He wants to honor that. And so to trust that when things don't feel like they're working out, that God is still in control. When it doesn't feel like you have control, to trust that God has control, that God still has control, and that He's always had control. And so this is true in taking tests. This is true in thinking about a career, in job hunting, in searching for internships, and all of these things. Just the encouragement that the Lord has bigger plans, that His vision is so much bigger for you than just the next 40 years of the work that you'll do, or the job that you'll be working at until you retire. And so just reassurance that the Lord loves you more than what you can do for Him in ministry, and also what you can do for the world, that the Lord loves you as a person. And so I wanted to leave you with that. If you have thoughts or questions, you're free to contact me. I'd love to get in touch with you. God bless.